My own duty as a teacher is not so much to interpret Beethoven, Wagner, or other masters of the past, but to give what encouragement I can to the young musicians of America. I hope that just as this nation has already surpassed so many others in marvelous inventions and feats of engineering and commerce, and has made an honorable place for itself in literature in one short century, so it may assert itself in the art of music. To bring about this result, we must trust to the very youthful enthusiasm and patriotism of this country. Antonin Dvorak, 1895.
Dvorak was born in Prague in 1841 to a talented man and his wife. He began to play organ, piano, and violin at a young age and was taught by his German language teacher. His father refused to let him take on a career in music, but Dvorak ignored him and went on to study at the Prague Organ School. By age 15, Dvorak completed his apprenticeship and graduated from the organ school in 1959. He became a piano teacher and fell in love with one Josefina. However, she did not feel the same. In 1873, Dvorak married Anna, Josefina's younger sister.
By 1890, Dvorak was a hero in his native Bohemia. Soon the world was showering him with honors and invitations.
In September 27, 1882, Dvorak, with his wife and children, arrives at Hoboken, New Jersey, and later assumes the role as the director of the National Conservatory of Music of America. Intrigued by the culture of the American people, its fast-moving cities, their advancement in industry, and its history, he was inspired to begin working on cementing America's nationalistic music.
Nationalism is the use of musical ideas or motifs that are identified with a specific country, region, or ethnicity, such as folk tunes, melodies, rhythms, and harmonies that are inspired by them. Dvorak drew on rhythms and melodic inflections of Bohemian folk music to give his music an unmistakable national identity.
In 1893, Dvorak composed one of the most popular symphonies ever written, the Symphony No. 9 in E minor, the New World Symphony. When Dvorak wrote the symphony, he drew inspiration from different aspects of America.
He uses a few that are kind of from different, backgrounds, ethnic groups, nationalities, kind of different backgrounds. And so I think the main thing is to realize that, of course, kind of a culmination of both some Negro spiritual style songs, some he used in the style of, Negro spirituals, and some he, of course, composed on his own, and then, or took actually that were, real Negro spirituals, and he also brought in some kind of Czechoslovakian or Bohemian style of writing for some of his themes, and then of course kind of hear some of the more American sound in his music as well.
The themes are used in major ways. They are passed around from movement to movement and then all culminate together in the last movement.
I think the major ones are in one from the first movement. Bum, 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 bum. That is a striking theme that of course gets messed around with throughout the whole symphony. Of course, he uses the same type of rhythms. For instance, that first dotted rhythm, bum, 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 that type of dotted rhythm kind of comes back in different iterations or different forms throughout the symphony. So, for instance, the first theme, that first theme, has kind of this bold, heroic quality to it. But then, for instance, he moves into the second theme of the first movement. Bum bum ba da da dee da 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 dee, bum bum ba da dee da dee da dum. And even though that has that Native American kind of quality where it's more folk-like, it's a smaller range, and things of that nature, it still uses that kind of those dotted rhythms that even in that come up over and over again.
For example, the Negro spiritual Swing Low, Sweet Chariot uses these rhythms.
Kind of messes with it a little bit or varies it in a way, but it still uses that, bum, 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 bum. He uses kind of that same that variation of that dotted rhythm, which I think is a fundamental theme that is retained, in some regard through each of the three movements. So that's one thing I think that we noticed throughout the symphony is kind of holding to some of the major themes and using them in major ways. Even in the second movement, we see him piecing together some of the first movement themes, drawing them into the third movement, and then it really culminates in the fourth movement with a mixture of several themes, drawing them into the third movement, and then it really culminates in the fourth movement with a mixture of several themes, in that last movement.
On December 16, 1893, Dvorak premiered the New World Symphony at Carnegie Hall. Receiving an instant acclaim, each performance having a roaring crowd with a standing ovation.
After returning home from America, Dvorak spent his final years composing chamber and opera music.
Dvorak died from a tragic heart failure.
His body resides in the Vyšehrad Cemetery in Prague.
Dvorak made an impact on American music in a different way than many other composers. To this day, he is still remembered for his mark.
What are the natural resources that we have here in America? This is the question that he was asking of the American composers. He was able to find the angle by studying, the Amerindian music or Native American music. He was able to get involved in, of course, the work of Harry G. Burleigh with the spirituals and really understand some of the underlying folk music of this nation and bringing that out in a clear way to the public. So I think that's a part of his legacy, is that he was able to bring clarity to the American nation as far as, or the American music society, as far as what is our national music, what do we have here, what is our folk music.
The music of the people is like a rare and lovely flower growing amidst encroaching weeds. Thousands pass it, while others trample it underfoot, and thus the chances are that it will perish before it is seen by the one discriminating spirit who will prize it above all else. The fact that no one has as yet arisen to make the most of it does not prove that nothing is there. Antonin Dvorak, 1895.